School absenteeism entails a problem that responds to different reasons depending on each part of the world. In developed countries, the lack of motivation stands out due to the disengagement with the education system. On the other hand, different factors contribute to a more severe school absenteeism in developing countries, such as the socioeconomic level, poor infrastructures, or a culture with no room to education. The problem is even worse in case of low-income countries' girls. When they turn adolescents, they are supposed to perform houseworks. They sometimes get pregnant early. They contract marriage or suffer sexual harassment that induce them to leave school. UNESCO has reported that the period is one of the reasons for dropping out of school, estimating that 1 in 10 girls do not attend to school during their period in Africa. In Chad, the situation is alarming. It is considered a private problem and girls are embarrassed for the fear of tearing. The share of teenage girls out of school is 18.4 percentage point higher than boys, with only 12.4% of girls enrolled at secondary school, data from the World Bank in 2016. The short-term impact is the loss of academic performance. In the long term, it causes higher dependency and illiteracy of females. The paper links to related studies in other developing countries that emphasize the need of improving conditions for girls with the period, which contributes to early school leaving. For instance, Miro found evident that the period reduced the attendance while having the period in Uganda. Haber or Kirumira have dealt with the role of teachers in the topic. More specifically, Oster and Montgomery carried on experiments in Nepal and Ghana respectively to analyze the effects of facilitating sanitary products on female attendance.
As it has been stated, this study focuses on female school absenteeism in Chad. To achieve a good solution, it is necessary to address the root of the problem first. Most girls stop studying when they reach puberty. We can describe puberty as a time of accelerated physical growth and sexual development experienced by teenagers. Education sector is responsible for contributing the healthy development of its learners, helping them to respond and manage the changes and challenges in life. So it is also responsible for preparing students to face this phase of life, because a bad way of facing the problem affects the quality of education, and in some cases it may affect school attendance, as is happening in Chad. To solve the problem of women dropping school, it is required that the educational setting is a safe and clean space to support healthy practices. A health-promoting school is central to providing high-quality education. A school must provide the necessary facilities so girls can continue attending to classes when they reach puberty.
Since the big problem that we are tackling is that girls often drop out of school after they get their periods due to the lack of access to sanitation facilities at school, such as toilets, and hygiene supplies, such as pads, our concrete policy design must provide a solution that will end this problem. Most families cannot afford to buy sanitary pads for their daughters. Therefore, our concrete policy design will include providing pads free of charge to girls in the treatment communities, as well as improving the sanitation facilities in schools in these communities.
To examine whether offering females sanitary pads free of charge, as well as improving the sanitation facilities such as building the toilets in the schools, we will design a randomized field experiment. We will examine 80 villages in Chad, which have in this moment moreover the same rate of dropping school because of girls having a period. Then, we will randomly choose 40 of them as a treatment group and the rest stays a control group. We will provide sanitation facilities such as toilets to schools and offering sanitary pads free of charge to the treatment group, whereas the control group stays without this treatment. After a year, we will compare the number of girls who drop the school because of their period in the treatment group and in the control group. Then, we will see whether our policy design was successful or not. We can also carry out a regression analysis to find out if any other factor played some role in the improvement or deterioration of the situation of girls' education in this African country.
Sanitary pads are an old, tried and true solution for females to stay clean during their time of the month and are used by women worldwide as long as there's access to them both physically and financially. Our concrete policy design is to encourage the public service delivery of education and decrease the dropout rate of young females so they may complete their education. We would hope to see in the randomized control trial that in the short run, our implemented policy will achieve the goal we set, which is to get girls to remain in schools beyond the age of puberty. However, we are aware that this solution may not be sustainable for the long term. It is a reality that girls in these communities would be dependent on us for the free sanitary pads and will still not be able to afford them after we stop giving them away for free. If we do not create a more sustainable long-term solution to implement beyond the study, girls will most likely start dropping out of school when they hit puberty again. If we achieve the results hoped for in the short run, we would then start to slowly introduce and inform women about a much better, but still less well-known and accepted, reusable alternative to pads called a menstrual cup. Just one box of sanitary pads may last a woman 1 month and can cost about $5, whereas one menstrual cup may cost about $30, but this can last a woman over 10 years. If you do the math, this means that after only 6 months, it is smarter financially to use a cup over a pad. Also producing much less waste, menstrual cups would be a viable solution for the long run, both environmentally and financially.